Hi everyone, it's Katrina here. The last few days I've been very emotionally challenged as a neurodivergent person, but also as a person. Um, Recently, some of you may already know that both my parents were admitted to the ICU, intensive care unit, at hospital. And my parents live on Borneo and I live in the UK. And I have struggled with guilt and shame of all types, not being able to get there regularly, simply because I have lots and lots and lots of reasons due to complicated circumstances, finances, and all kinds of things, really. That being the point, I am triggered by traveling. I find traveling, especially post COVID, a very, very traumatic experience. I'm scared by it. Um, and I also can't stand that there's just so many officials, immigration officers and bureaucracy, and I understand, and custom officers, and I get that all these things have to happen in order for it to be structured and work well. But it doesn't stop me from feeling triggered. And so, in order for me to travel means giving up a lot of my comforts. I'm a medicinal cannabis patient, for instance, and I use cannabis for my high levels of anxiety, particularly being in a torn situation where my family are on Borneo and I'm in the UK. And although my choice of life is to be in the UK because that's where my business is and that's where my work is, and I have tried living on Borneo, doing what I am trained to do here, there, and it didn't work very well. So this is why I'm here. So recently, I found out that both my parents were hospitalized. And you've got no idea the guilt and the shame that I put on myself before anyone else put on me. And it was extremely, extremely, extremely painful. And so this is what I want to talk to you about today. So I'm doing this from the comfort of my own home, and it's something that's normally the topic shame is something that we normally keep in the dark, isn't it? It's not something that we want to openly talk about to people. So if you are neurodivergent, how does shame feel to you? Is it a physical weight? Is it, to me, it's that voice that tells me that I'm not doing enough, that I should be a better daughter or a sister or a family member, that I should be doing this for or that for my business, or that I should be doing something that I'm not doing instead of resting. Now, I don't know about you, but I get burnt out easily, very, very easily, and my brain works really, really fast, and yeah, so so I need more time to process, and it's not just the processing, but also it's the just being, needing that. And I often get shamed for, or feel shamed for, doing things that I need to do to take care of my own mental and physical health. So I've made some notes here. So if you see me staring at my screens, because I've got some notes here. So when we feel shame, it's our mind telling us that we're maybe not doing enough or doing what we should be doing, or comparing ourselves to other people who are doing possibly um, better. But is it better, given that other people may not have the same challenges that we have, or the same financial, not financial, but the same emotional attachments that we do? So when we're stuck in the place of shame, it, it causes our nervous system to go into high alert exhaustion. And that's how I was feeling for the whole of yesterday. And I'm just so grateful that that moment has passed and they've come out of being in a critical condition. And you know. But if I was to feel this intense shame and book my ticket and get on a flight, say I was all right with flying, I would have nothing to live on, you know. The cost of flights are not cheap. And so this is, you know, part of the problem of being overseas. And I agree that was something that I decided to take on. But when people, particularly parents, get old and ill, you feel that you should be doing more. Yeah. Okay. So I've created a worksheet, which I will share in the description of this YouTube video below. So we're going to look at things like identifying the physical shape of shame, because the idea is that we're trying to make shame something that's less of an abstract concept, but more of a tangible physical item that you can maneuver and change and make it manipulate it. That makes sense. So I've created a worksheet that will help us map out how shame physically shows up. Shame isn't just a thought, it's a somatic experience. So what does somatic mean? Somatic is when you embody emotions, embodying emotions. So a lot of the work that I do is somatic. It's working using Kundalini yoga, which is a very somatic form of yoga, using the body to release pain, to release trauma. So if we're looking at this from the space of somatics, somatic experience rather, how does it feel in your chest? Is it a sinking feeling? Is it a heavy feeling? Does it make you want to curl up and hide? Now, these all change depending on which part of your life you're in, or maybe circumstances, yeah? So we're also looking at shame versus reality, right? So we'll look at stories that shame says. So shame says, I'm failing because I can't do the dishes. Reality says, my executive function is depleted because I'm overstimulated for 6 hours. This isn't about making excuses. It's about making neuro-affirming data. So when we swap shame for data, for what's really going on, the nervous system can finally start to relax. So I also try to apply this to my experience of not being able to get there. So for me, shame showed up for making me feel like as if I was not a good daughter, not caring. And I had to be firm with myself and say, no, it's not that you're not caring. You can only do so much. And you can't travel because you've got all these other complications in your life that you need to sort out before you even think about traveling. So it's just not going to happen, is it? So we also look at somatic releases, which are positions that we can make with our hands or gestures, like maybe moving your fingers or rubbing thumb to index finger as a Gyan Mudra, feeling this touch. This helps you get into your body and get into your breath as well. So if you do this and breathe, all of a sudden you're out of here and into, you're embodying, you're feeling the breath support your emotions more. Okay. Also, let's do this together. Okay. Place your forefinger to thumb on your knees, both of your hands. I'm holding the camera with one hand. So 2 hands are on your knees, 4 fingers to thumb. Let's see if I can get that out like that. Yep. And you're going to sit up straight. You're going to take a deep breath in. Exhale fully. And I want you to say to yourself, I am allowed to have needs. Feel the pulse in your fingertips as you're saying that. This simple pressure reminds your body that you are solid, a valid person, regardless of how productive or perfect you were today. So we'll say that one more time. I'm allowed to have my needs, and then you press your finger against your thumb and feel that pulsing pressure. that reminds you that you're living, yeah? So this simple pressure reminds your body that you are solid, valid person, regardless of how productive or perfect you were today. Okay? So it's this sort of thing that you need to try and, or not just you, but anyone who struggles with shame and guilt, to check in with ourselves. And trust me, I struggle with it all the time. So shame thrives in isolation, but it dies in light. So you can download this How Shame Shows Up activity sheet. It will be in my description. It's free. I'm putting together a series of worksheets to compile to create an activity book for a neurodivergent burnout toolkit or overwhelm toolkit. So thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next week, and wishing you love. Namaste.